So you want to learn how to make beats for the weekends? Well, in my unbiased opinion, you come to the perfect spot, because not only am I going to show you how to make beats for the weekend, I'm going to show you a bunch of techniques that you can use in any beat you make for pretty much forever. So you need two things first: 1 chords and 2 synths. To get started, I've just got this little chord progression, and I'm actually using 3 sounds. So here's how the first sound sounds. It's just a kind of lighter synth sound. Here's how the second one sounds, just a more bright kind of synth sound, because I like to choose sounds that kind of complement each other. And then on top of that, I have an ARP sound. And all these sounds are from my bank, Distant. And unfortunately though, if you look at the name of this one, this was not intentional. It's called Astroglide Part 2. And for some of you, that might not sound funny. It just sounded like a cool name to me at first, but then I looked it up, and now I regret it. And so here's how those sound all together. One thing to point out about this chord progression, to kind of make it a little more mysterious, it's just kind of building up and literally just going up 1 note in the scale. And that's how I kind of built the chords. And then to make it sound a little bit bigger and brighter as well, I just took the bottom notes of each of these chords and put them on top. Now the next thing we're going to do to kind of just make it sound a little bit more full, this is actually going to change up throughout the track, just a bass line. And more specifically, you want a bass that kind of has a little bit of distortion at the top end, so like a synth bass. And this one is just named Burn, also from the pack. Normal name, all right? I'm just following the root notes, which is the bottom notes of the chorus. On the synths, just because I wanted them to sound a little bit dirtier and a little more analog, I just added some RC20 for like the kind of vinyl sound and a little bit of saturation. Added Saturn 2 for more kind of tape sounding saturation, and then added a little tiny bit of delay. Without. Now with. Next thing we're going to get into is automation. So to do this, just grab any EQ, does not matter. And basically what you're going to do is automate it. So once the beat starts, everything slowly moves up like this. And this is just going to make your synths sound like they're kind of building and getting bigger, as well as just the entire beat as a whole. And so if you look here, I'm doing that for each of these synths. They're just slowly opening up as everything comes in. And if you do it all together, it sounds really cool. And one cool thing for the bass specifically, I'm also automating the low end here. So you're going to see it open up like this, and it's just going to make the bass sound heavier. So it's just slowly rising, and then boom, the beat's gonna come in. Now, for when the beat drops in, a few things you should do so it has the impact that you want. 1, drums. I just like using like retro drum loops for these types of beats. Oliver has some really good packs. And so here's how those sound. I just kind of chop them up a little bit. And then you want to change the bass line a little bit, so I added some rhythm to the bass line here, just so it doesn't sound exactly the same when everything drops in. And then the last thing I did was for all of the synths and the ARP, I added kickstart, which basically just gives a pulsing effect to the synths. And here's how everything sounds. Now for the second beat, I made a more like hip hop inspired, maybe something Metro Boomin might produce for the weekends. I'm gonna show you how you can combine the two into one beat and transition from the previous beat to that. So the first thing, I just want the melody to sound like it would work with the other beat. So the easiest way to do that is to grab the chords because they're kind of the main part of that beat. So here's the chords and here's the melody. One thing that is also very helpful is to make sure that the root note of the chord is one of the first notes that you play. I don't know why it transitions perfectly if you're going to change up the beats. Other than that though, you kind of just play around with it. Sometimes notes within the chords work well. You look behind there. But really you just want it to sound like they could work together. So they work perfectly. And this sound is called Distant and Far. Solid, normal name. But then I just layered that sound because everything just sounds better when you layer it. And this sound is called Voices of Winter. And it's just kind of like a softer lead sound. Just dropped a new bank. It's called Distant. I've been using the sounds here throughout the video, as I've made very clear. But I want to give you guys a little discount code. So just use this code on the screen at checkout. If you like making these types of beats, R&B beats, indie, psych rock type of beats as well, pop beats, honestly everything, you will like this pack. And then just a simple kind of trap drum bounce. And then the 808s are kind of really the most important part outside of the melody, and it's kind of just bouncing off of that melody. For 808, just use the spins. To transition these together effectively, since I already know this melody works with the chords, I could just lay it down right here. And then I took kind of the intro, lead, and bass sound, so you know how the pattern is a little different, look right here, versus it just going on these notes. I put that there as well, and it just transitioned really nicely, so just kind of try some shit out. And you'll notice that the melody right there, it was sounding kind of weird, kind of messed up. All I'm doing is just turning it on and off, like literally powerly. Because then it doesn't get overly redundant because it's a little different. So you just want to make slight changes to everything. And then after that, just added back the chords from earlier because I know it's going to sound good together, right? And then I automated the filter again. So just letting the highs come in as well so it builds up and then it drops into the beat.